Hello. Today we're going to be learning about coordinate geometry. So coordinates are a name for a location. So where we are, say, on a map, if we were able to find our house or our school on a map, we would be able to get its coordinates from the map, and that would be numbers that would tell us exactly where we were on the map. So that's where coordinates comes in, and geometry is the maths of shapes. So we're going to be dealing with locations and shapes in coordinate geometry. Now, coordinates, both in geography and in maths, will work the same way. We're going to start at 0, 0. At this point where we're over on our big plus sign on the left-hand side of the screen, and where my red dot is called 0, 0, and it is called the origin. So 0, 0 is the place we always start from. So that's why it's called the origin. So the origin is at 0, 0. It's where we always start. That's why we call it the origin. And then we are going to go in the door and then up the stairs. So if we're coming into our house and we have a second story in our house, we'd have to go in the door before we'd go up the stairs. So we start at the origin and we're always going to go in the door along the side to side ruler we've got here, and then up the stairs means we'll go up and down afterwards. So if I take this as an example here, so the in the door is our x coordinate and the up the stairs is our y coordinate, our x location, our y location. To give you an example of this in practice, if I want to know where A is, I would say that A is at x is 3 and y is 2. So I can see my x and my y here. These are my rulers that allow me to measure where my location is in two different directions. So x is my location, or my distance away from the origin, from 0, 0, on the side to side measurement. So this is a ruler going side to side. And then I've got a ruler going up and down as well, so that I can measure exactly where I am on a sheet of paper. Because one ruler doesn't give me enough information to know exactly where I am. But if I have two rulers on my page, I'm able to map out exactly how far away I am from a single point, my origin, and that's going to give me my location. So that's how our system works. Now, if we put it into practice, point A is at x is 3, y is 2. So let's follow what I said. We start at the origin, we start at 0, 0, and we're going to go in the door 3. So we start at 0, 0, and we go in the door, that's side to side, 3, plus 3, so we get plus 3 along, and then up the stairs 2, up the stairs 2. So that's going to be the point A, and it's at 3, 2. We started at the origin, as we always will. We go in the door 3, up the stairs 2. And so because we have these two measurements, these two rulers allow us to give us an exact location for where we are on our map. Let's try the point B, and we're going to follow exactly the same setup. Start at the origin, start at 0, 0, go in the door -1 and up the stairs 5. So in the door and then up the stairs. Start at the origin, in the door -1, up the stairs 5. This is the point B. It's at a -1, 5. C is at -3, -4. So start at the origin, in the door -3, down the stairs -4, or up the stairs -4, whichever you prefer. So down -4. And we end up at C, at -3, -4. Start at the origin, -3, down -4. Then D is at 2, -7. So start at the origin, in the door 2, down the stairs -7. D is at 2 minus 7. So that's how our different locations work. And we can see that we can say exactly where we are at any point on our page by using our two rulers that are crossing each other. We can measure how far away we are from the origin and say if we go to the right 3 places and up 2 places, we go to this exact point A, and that tells us precisely where A is. So it gives us the coordinate, the location. Now, another piece of language that comes up in coordinate geometry is called quadrants. Now, quad means 4. So what it means is we've broken up our sheet of paper into 4 pieces. And you can kind of see that in the picture that we've got here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces to our diagram, to our page. And this is called the first quadrant. So the top right-hand corner of my page is called the first quadrant. To the left of it is the second quadrant. Going down from there is the third quadrant. And then underneath here, the bottom right is the fourth quadrant. What's going on here is that when we come on to dealing with angles, we are always going to think of angles as starting from the top of the x-axis, the top of the positive x-axis where I am here, and then we're going to rotate around this way. So we're going to rotate around counterclockwise, the opposite direction to how our clock would go. And that is what we need for our quadrants. So we need to know which place each of our quadrants is, and this will be really important later when we get into angles. The next thing we want to talk about is called axes. And we've actually already been dealing with axes. There's what I've been calling the rulers. So this is my X ruler, my side-to-side ruler, and this is my Y ruler, my up and down ruler. Now I can remember which one should go where because the letter Y is longer up and down than the letter X is, and it's the up and down axis. So that's how I can remember which one goes where. In terms of remembering their coordinates, X comes before Y in the alphabet. So my X coordinate comes before my Y coordinate in my list here in my brackets. Now, points that are on the axis are going to be very important in the long run. They're going to be hugely important all the way up to leaving cert. So we're going to practice them a little bit here. If I want to know where the point E is, point E is at X is 0, Y is 3. So we go to the origin, we go in the door 0. Well, that means we're not going to go anywhere side to side because we're not going in the door anything. We're going in the door 0. And then up the stairs 3. So that's my point E. And it's at 0, 3. Then I have my point F, which is on 4, 0. Well, my X is 4, my Y is 0. So start at the origin, in the door 4, up the stairs 0. So I'm not going to go up and down. I'm just going to have a point at F there, which is at 4, 0. Then G is at minus 7, 0. So in the door minus 7 and up the stairs 0. So I'm just at G is at minus 7, 0. And H is at 0, minus 3. So start at the origin, in the door 0, so side to side nothing, and then down the stairs minus 3. So that's my point. H is at 0, minus 3. Now if I look at where these points have ended up, when I have my Y coordinate being 0, I'm on the X axis. So when my Y coordinate is 0, when my Y coordinate is 0, I end up on the X axis. So when Y is equal to 0, I'm on the X axis. And I see when X is equal to 0, when my X coordinate is 0, I'm on the Y axis. So when X is equal to 0, I'm on the y axis. I'm on my y ruler. And this is going to be an extremely important point going forward. Really important. We're going to use it all the time when we get into bigger parts of coordinate geometry. Now, the last thing to mention is how it is we draw this. So I started out here and I already had my axes drawn, but that isn't going to be the case all the time. We're going to have to draw them ourselves. So the final thing we need to talk about is some quick rules of thumb for how it is we draw our x and y axis. First of all, we know that the x one goes side to side and the y one goes straight up and down, and we know that because y is longer up and down. The other more common things that we need to worry about, or more complicated things we need to worry about, is that all of our numbers need to be equally spaced. If I look at the distance between 0 and 1, it's 1 box in my copy, and the distance between 1 and 2 is 1 box in my copy. It's really important that all of our numbers are the same distance apart. So 12 and 13 are the same distance apart as 9 and 10 are. They're 1 box apart. And that'll be extremely important. We won't get any marks for our work if we have different spaced boxes between our different numbers. So that's the first point. The next one is where we draw our numbers. Sometimes, when we're not used to doing this, if we were drawing our axes, we'd draw, say, 1 here, and then 2 here, and then 3 here. And what have I done? I've drawn my numbers where I usually would if I was doing sums, but now I have put a little dash kind of in the middle of my boxes that I usually do maths in. And this is really inaccurate and doesn't help us. So what we do instead, we draw in our straight line for our axes using a ruler. We draw in our straight line for axes using a ruler, using the lines in our book. And then on the grid lines, on the box lines that were given in our copy, we're going to write in our numbers. And that means when we want to read off our coordinates, we can use the lines in our copy to keep track of where we want to go. So if I wanted to go to the point 2, 4, I'd start at the origin and I'd go in the door 2 and up the stairs 4. And that would be the point 2, 4. And I can read it really easily because I'm following the lines that are in my copy, so I can be very accurate. And that's what we need for our coordinate